Good day everyone, welcome to the Tefl listening class. It's nice to see you again everyone. In this class, I'm going to give you a tip for the Tefl listening test. But before we get into the main lesson, I will give a game to all of you so I can know whether you have focused or not. Now for the game, I want you all to take a piece of paper. After you take a piece of paper, close your eyes and write down the alphabets that I will tell you. Are you ready? Good job. Okay. The first number. Listen carefully. C H A M P A G M E Champagne. Champagne. Okay, now open your eyes. Is this the words that you write? Is everybody correct? Well, it's too easy actually for all of you. I will raise the difficulty for this game, only for all of you. Are you ready for the second word? Now, listen carefully. H Y P L O C H E R A P Y. Once again. H Y P M O T H E R A P Y. Now open your eyes. Yes, that is hypnotherapy. So, is everybody correct? Really good job. It means everybody is focused now for the lesson. So, before I give you the listening tips, I want to tell you something about the Tefl listening test. It consists of two types. The first one is conversation. It involves 2 or 3 people to have a conversation. The second type is a lecture. A lecture means simply as an explanation about something that is taught or spoken by someone. And it also has the same pattern, which is they both have multiple answers, choices. So, without any further ado, I will give you 2 common tips to face the listening test. The first one is you have to read the questions and the multiple choice answers. By reading the questions and the answer, you can know what is the story about, what do they talk about, and what is the explanation about. The second one is write a note. Here, writing a note can really help your listening test. But remember, every listening questions only have some seconds to answer the questions. You have to know how to write a note effectively and efficiently. And for the second one, which is write a note, I will give you 2 tips according to each types of the listening task. Okay, to write a note, you have to do one thing: abbreviate or abbreviation, which means you have to shorten a word. Now there are 2 types of the listening test. The first one is the conversation, and the second one is the lecture. Okay, let's focus on the conversation first. Now, for the conversation, you can make into 2 columns, which contain the first person and the second person. That will help you to know what is going on inside their conversation. So, example they say, when will the paper be collected or be submitted? Next week. Remember, you have to collect to Mr. Bob. So you can abbreviate those sentences become P, which stands for paper, and that line, and you can put question mark, which means paper, that line, points to that line of the paper. Next week you can make an arrow of the right arrow, week, to Mr. Bob, which means next week collect to Mr. Bob. That is tip for the conversation. Now, the tip for the lecture, you have to make a simple diagram or simple sheets or something that can help you to take the notes from the lecture. You can put the first main sentence or the second main sentence and also the third main sentence. But also remember, try to abbreviate because only some seconds are needed to answer a question. So you have to pay attention to your time. Okay, so let's practice directly whether you understand my explanation of the tips or not. Here is the listening test. Practice.
Listening section directions. The listening section measures your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. You will hear each conversation and lecture only one time. After each conversation or lecture, you will hear some questions about it. Answer the questions based on what the speakers state or imply. You may take notes while you listen. You may use your notes to help you answer the questions. In some questions, you will see this icon. This means that you will hear but not see part of the question. Some questions have special directions, which appear in a gray box. Most questions are worth 1 point. If a question is worth more than 1 point, the directions will indicate how many points you can receive. You will now begin the first part of the listening section.
Listen to part of a conversation between a student and a secretary.
Hello? I'm sorry, are you guys open yet?
Oh, hello there. Come on in. We open at 8 a.m. sharp and it's 8:01. Wow, you sure are an early bird. We usually don't get many students in here before 10 o'clock or so.
Yeah, I wanted to get an early start before my first class. This is the financial services office, isn't it?
That's right. What can I do for you?
I received this in the mail yesterday. It says that I didn't pay my bill for this semester, but that's not true. I can prove it too.
Okay, one step at a time. Can I see that letter?
Here.
Okay. Now these letters are automatically generated, so it may very well just be a case of not getting your information entered in time.
Automatically generated? I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. Are you saying I did something wrong?
No. Sometimes at the start of the semester, we receive a backlog of payments, and it takes us a while to process them all. So we may have received your check on time but didn't get it entered into the system on time. And if your payment isn't entered into the system, the computer automatically generates one of these letters.
Oh, so then you did get my payment on time.
Hold on. I just said that might be the case. Give me a second to check your file online. We got all of our payments entered yesterday afternoon, so I'll be able to see if we received it on time. Now, what's your name?
It's Crystal. Crystal Hughes. My middle name is Marissa.
Okay. Nope. I'm sorry. According to our system, we didn't receive any payment from you at all this semester.
That's not true, and I can prove it. Here, look. This is a statement from my bank. It shows that my check was cashed by Harrington College 5 days ago.
Now, that's odd. Here, let me see that. Aha! How do you spell your first name?
Crystal with a K, Krystal.
I think I've got this figured out. Hold on 1 second. Yes, that's it. I'm so sorry. We did get your check last week. It looks like someone simply entered your name incorrectly in the system at some point. That's why the computer generated that letter.
Oh, you've got to be kidding. Do you mean I worried all last night and woke up an hour early this morning just because someone made a typo?
I really am sorry. You know, there's a phone number you can call us at on that letter. If something like this happens again, and I'm sure it won't, it would probably be better to just give us a quick call.
Well, I know that now. So everything's okay then?
Yes, I've deleted the file with the misspelled name. Everything is just fine now. I'd really like to apologize again for...
No, don't worry about it. I'm pretty annoyed right now, but I know it's not your fault. I do appreciate your help.
I'm just glad we were able to straighten everything out. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, so for the first time, which is the conversation one between a student and a secretary, I have made a note for it. So I write down as a student and as ECR as secretary, and I think it will take time if I explain to you. I just hope that from this note you can understand how to write a note efficiently and effectively. I will give you some time to read.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer. Number 1. Why does the student go to the financial services office? Number 2. How does the student know that the college received her check on time? Number 3. Why did the computer automatically generate a letter? Number 4. Why does the secretary mention the phone number on the letter? Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
Sometimes at the start of the semester, we receive a backlog of payments, and it takes us a while to process them all. So we may have received your check on time but didn't get it entered into the system on time. And if your payment isn't entered into the system, the computer automatically generates one of these letters.
Oh, so then you did get my payment on time.
Hold on. I just said that might be the case. Give me a second to check your file online.
Number 5. What can be inferred about the secretary? Listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
What kinds of things do you think of when I mention the term paper that's due next week? No doubt you associate some amount of stress with the reminder about the term paper. Of course, you're all feeling different levels of stress regarding the term paper. Some of you may be feeling almost no stress at all, and some of you may be totally stressed out. Stress is a very personal thing. People react to different situations differently. Basically, stress occurs when an individual's perception of the demands placed upon them by their environment outweighs their perception of their own ability to meet those demands. It breaks down to how much you think you can handle compared to how much is expected of you. So, to go back to the term paper that's due next week, those of you who think you can write the paper over the weekend won't be as stressed about it as those of you who think you need 2 more weeks to complete the paper. It's all a matter of perception. So, let's take a minute to look at the body's reaction to stress. Now, back in the 1920s, a man named Hans Selye explained the process our bodies go through when we experience stress. He called the process the general adaptation syndrome. There are 3 stages in our response: alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. First, we experience the alarm reaction. That's the first thing our bodies do when we encounter stress. Basically, the alarm reaction is all about getting physically prepared to respond to danger. You may have heard of the term fight or flight. Well, that's what the alarm response is basically getting our bodies ready to do. This alarm reaction is really helpful because it automatically prepares us for whatever might happen. But there are some drawbacks too. While our bodies are on such high alert, our immune systems are less effective. So that means that we're more vulnerable to getting sick when we're having an alarm reaction. It seems like a small drawback, maybe, but when our immune systems are taxed for long periods, it can be pretty harmful to our bodies. Okay, so if stress continues for a period of time, our reaction changes a little bit. We're no longer in the alarm reaction phase when our bodies get used to the stress they are facing. What happens is we enter the resistance stage. In this stage, we adapt to deal with the stressor. Maybe you'd like an example. Okay, picture this. Someone with anorexic behavior eats very little food. So in this case, the stressor that the body is facing is starvation, right? Okay, so during the resistance stage, the person might discover that he or she has little interest in physical activity. You see, this is the body's response to starvation. It is an attempt to spend as little energy as possible. The body has adapted to the stressor of starvation. Another response the body might perform as it adapts to the stressor of starvation is to increase its efficiency at getting all of the nutrients out of food. That would certainly be advantageous in a starvation situation, of course. The body would have to rely on a small amount of food for all its vital nutrients. As a result, it would extract as much benefit as possible from the food it received. Okay, now maybe you have heard of people who work really stressful jobs, and they end up having a heart attack really young. Well, that's related to the 3rd stage of our body's reactions to stress. You see, eventually, our bodies just become exhausted from dealing with the stressor. Stage 3 is exhaustion. Our immune system just gets really run down and tired, and it can't fight off the illnesses it once would have been able to protect us from. In the exhaustion stage, our bodies experience serious negative physical effects. An early heart attack would be an example of this. It could be brought on by a situation where someone works an extremely stressful job, which creates long-term stress for the body and leads to the exhaustion stage, where the person's body no longer functions properly.
So, the second one is a lecture about stress. Here is my notes. For this one, I'm kind of let's abbreviate because it's quite hard to abbreviate, honestly. That is why you have to take practice over and over again. So, you can know how to abbreviate well. Now, this is my notes. I will give you time to look.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer. Number 6. What is the talk mainly about? Number 7. According to the professor, what is the body's first response to a stressor? Number 8. According to the professor, what is one way the body resists the stressor of starvation? Number 9. Why does the professor mention heart attacks? Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
What kinds of things do you think of when I mention the term paper that's due next week? No doubt you associate some amount of stress with the reminder about the term paper.
Number 10. What does the professor imply when he says this?
No doubt you associate some amount of stress with the reminder about the term paper.
Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
Okay, so if stress continues for a period of time, our reaction changes a little bit. We're no longer in the alarm reaction phase when our bodies get used to the stress they are facing. What happens is we enter the resistance stage. In this stage, we adapt to deal with the stressor. Maybe you'd like an example.
Number 11. What does the professor mean when he says this?
Maybe you'd like an example.
Okay, so that's all about my class today. Remember, two common tips. The first one, read the questions and answer. The second one, make a note. For making a note for the conversation, try to make 2 columns, and for the lecture, try to make a simple diagram, or you can only write the main sentences in the lecture. Okay, so hopefully this lecture can benefit all of you. It can help you for your TOEFL listening test, maybe for the next semester. I just want to say thank you so much for your time and see you for the next lesson. Goodbye.